Is that better?
We're back. So apparently, YouTube's updated its software and it defaulted to portrait mode, which is probably what Instagram and TikTok normally work for lives and YouTube Shorts. So we're now back horizontal. We've got finger marks over the lens, which I'm going to wipe off. But this is Martin Williams. So some of you will have seen him in the videos a few times, and specifically on the combine run. But who is he?
I was the fat one at the back that didn't say anything.
So, Martin farms in Hereford. Whereabouts? We'll go for the basics.
Right.
I clean the lens.
Yeah, while he goes and gets a bit of kitchen towel. I come from Hereford, between Hereford and Ross-on-Wye, on a little farm that used to be a dairy farm and it's not anymore. We used to have a milk round with a milk float, and my granny used to drive it. We ended up with a milk float, which was a Ford Cortina, which my granddad spilled all the milk in the back of, and we had to sell it because you couldn't live in it. And now it's mostly an arable and a grassland farm, and we do bits of work for other people too. So that's what I do. I mush about in Hereford doing bits and bobs.
So how old are you?
Oh God, really?
I know.
Oh, how embarrassing. I think I'm 58. That's bad, isn't it? I was born in 65. 65 was a very vintage year. Not as old as Tony Hall.
No, he's 22,000.
22,896 days, I think. Yeah, so not as old as Tony Hall. But yeah, 58, which feels very old. When I was 25, you talk to somebody that's 58, you'd think they were nearly dead. But I don't think I am yet.
No. And he's lost £9.
Yeah, I've lost £9.
Yeah.
Since that combine run, I've lost £9.
I think it's the toll road coming here, $4.50 each way.
Yeah.
Though I've done a few of these videos with different people, Gareth from Grassmen, Manette, Sandy from the RPA.
Yeah, from RPA, yeah.
And even the air ambulance people. So one of the questions I always ask is, what did you want to do when you were in school?
Well, I always wanted to be a farmer, and if I wasn't a farmer, I wanted to be a lorry driver, because I just fancied long distance lorry driving. I'm not sure I'd fancy it now at 56 mile an hour all day, but at the time I just really wanted to be a lorry driver.
Yeah.
Yeah. Bit weird, isn't it?
Is that because of Pigeon Street?
Yeah, I don't know what it was because they just looked big, didn't they? And then, obviously it ended up being a farmer, which is fine. I quite enjoyed it actually.
Alistair Williams, how did you meet Ollie?
Well,
AHDB used to do different kind of meetings, so Martin was always there, and you can't miss him, really. But the main thing was we had a crops board conference, and Michelle Nuttall from AHDB suggested that you would make a good speaker. So Martin travelled up the night before, 1 January, nearly 2 years ago, and we had a meal together, and we just hit it off and had a laugh, really. We swapped numbers.
Yeah, it was like a date night, really. And subsequently, he just won't stop texting me. So
yeah, so we obviously stayed in touch with that, and then predominantly we spent about a week together when we did the combine run, because we had 3 people up for it, and we needed someone that could fit them dates, someone that we're going to have a laugh with, and someone with a bit of local knowledge that was level-headed and used to moving big equipment around and having a class combine as well. That really helped. So when I asked Martin sort of early this year,
April I think, wasn't it, pizza night?
Yeah, we asked him would he be up for doing it, and he was. So that was that. And then we spent the next sort of 2 months being a bit like a boy band, travelling to different shows with the combine where everyone seemed to know our names.
Yeah.
So it was pretty cool.
I look like the old manager rather than the boy band, because being significantly older, as well you know. But it's been really, really good fun. We've had a fantastic summer of shows, ploughing matches, people. It's been really good, hasn't it? Been really good fun.
It's been better than farming.
And if he'd asked 1,000 people, any one of those 1,000 would have said yes, I dare say, to go on that combine, because it was just a once in a lifetime gig, wasn't it? It was just something you'll probably never forget. Well, I won't.
No, but we also don't know how we do something bigger and better again.
Exactly.
As Martin had in the instance with lamppost recently.
As what? I've got to put my glasses on.
As Martin had the instance with lamppost recently.
Yeah, only leaning on them, not bending them. I don't think they've altered that. I think it's still bent, isn't it?
They've repaired it slightly. It's
Have they?
just a bit buckled now.
Slightly. I wonder if they've moved that Renault tractor from underneath it.
I don't know.
They've sold 26, just put in another one there, and another one there, and another one there. Yeah, Ollie was in the cab with me when I did that.
We were actually doing a live video at the time.
Yeah.
That was the last time we probably did a live video. No,
Yeah.
we didn't. We did a live video when we were in nearly crossing the line, didn't we?
Yeah, we did. Yeah, in the car. Yeah, we
Yeah.
did. But we were in the combine. We got into this car park full of people. As we went through the gate, the van went left, and Ollie said, "I think we're supposed to park on the grass." "What grass?" "That grass." Oh, yeah. Anyway, I think you've hit the lamppost. Yeah, I think I might have. But there we go. Made good telly, didn't it?
Someone said, "Is Red Tractor fit for purpose? Had a hell of a summer. How are you doing, Martin Tim Parsons?"
Is Martin responsible for the funny names on the birthday bumper? No, Martin is not. And today we went through the names to make sure there were no funny ones, unless you've tricked us again.
Yeah. Would you be up for NFU president, Ollie? You'd be a strong candidate with your knowledge and passion. President is a 4 or 5 days a week commitment. I don't think I could do that.
Do you think he looks like Minette?
So there's another question: is Red Tractor fit for purpose? Well, we've had many discussions about Red
We
Tractor.
have. We've had, many hours of chat about Red Tractor. Our thought is that,
I prefer fence.
yeah, he prefers fence. He doesn't like
There's a
red ones.
politician's answer.
Unless you're Smokey Dave Jones, who loves Red Tractors. Red Tractor, I think, has probably reached the ceiling of where it should be. In fact, I think it's broken the ceiling, and perhaps it should be reduced to a basic food standard module. I don't think there's anything wrong in an assurance scheme, but people like to. I think it's nice to have food that's safe, but I think people don't mind filling out forms if they feel it's earning them some money, and so there should be a premium for filling out forms and for extra work involved, and the extra provenance then. And I don't think Red Tractor has delivered that, unfortunately. So I wouldn't want to dismiss it. I think it's probably still a good thing, but I think it should be reduced. Do you agree?
It needs to go on a diet, doesn't it?
Yeah, needs to slim back down to being something that nobody minds doing. I think if it was done like that, everybody would perhaps get involved in it, and I think that would be a great thing to put a proper base across the industry, rather than people dropping off the bottom and people refusing at the top, and then you end up with like an oddment in the middle that you can't even sell, which I think is a bit weird. I was talking to someone this morning actually about they were on about selling some corn, and the discount that was around with the corn. They say, "Oh, I don't want to sell it as non-assured because it's going to cost me a fortune." Well, that shouldn't be happening, should it? And it encourages farmers to cheat, which isn't right. Anyway, sorry, that's a bit dull, isn't
it? The other thing as well at the moment is renewable energy. So the RED, Renewable Energy Directive. At the moment, the only way of selling grain or oilseeds to meet that is through Red Tractor. But that's under review at the moment because Europe have been funny with us whether they'll take the paper trail of Red Tractor to do that. So we might lose it anyway. So the only advantage as a cereal grower that we're seeing at the moment is red, and that we might even lose that. So yeah, it's interesting times for it.
And there are lots of assurance schemes above Red Tractor, Waitrose, Nature's Choice, all these sorts of things that go on top. And people don't moan about those so much. But Red Tractor just seems to be having such a bad press at the moment and such a bad name. It's gone on for long enough.
Someone said something there about...
Sorry, we're trying to read the things and I can't see it. I can't even see the screen without my glasses.
You never told us about Labour's plans for farming. Are they exclusive Kofi Rees-Mogg? Answer the question and I'll forgive you for the big mess.
Big miss off the birthday bumper. Who did we miss?
Don't know. So Labour basically turned around and said, the minister that was for Labour said, "I've been in the job 6 weeks," I think he said, or 4 weeks. He said, "I'm new and we haven't written our manifesto yet." To which I said, if you're writing a manifesto, put in there that you're going to make it illegal for food to be bought and sold less than the cost of UK production. And I say UK because bringing it from somewhere else where they have a lot less standards and a lot cheaper labour or a lot cheaper energy isn't fair, really, is it? And it's at the moment, this SFI stuff, everyone's like, oh, I'm going to put someone to SFI because it'll pay better than oilseed rape.
Yeah.
Well, then you're going to end up with poorer. You're going to end up with less oilseed rape again. You're going to end up with less wheat because more granules stay in it. And then the AHDB are going to put their levy up, but then they might end up with less tons of grains. They might have to put it up again.
Yeah, because there'd be shorter revenue.
But AHDB did do a presentation to me when I was in an NFU meeting a few weeks ago, and they actually sold that extra 12 pence they want to put on to me because of the stuff that they want to do. So at the moment they have what's called a recommended list, and they have all the different varieties, and they do a full fungicide trial on it and say these are what stand out. Well, what they want to do is go, well, here's it with a full fungicide trial, here's it with half a fungicide trial, here's it with half the fertiliser. So you can actually then make an informed decision and go, well, actually, I might be paying 40 pence for every tonne of grain I'm selling, but by growing it, reading some of the information that they're compiling for me, I can save thousands a year.
Yeah.
So,
well, AHDB in Hereford, their one monitor farm meeting this winter is about the difference between an SFI farm and a non-SFI farm to see if they can see the difference in income.
Yeah.
But I don't know. There's so much going on in agriculture at the moment. It's difficult to see the wood for the trees. We've got all sorts of like SFI stuff that we don't know about. We've got stuff.
That's called Sustainable
Farm Initiative, which we haven't had rolled out properly yet. We don't know whether we're going to make money on it or not. We're probably not. We've got BPS disappeared. It's not a very pretty picture. So go back to NFU and Red Tractor a bit. It would be great to have a strong union of people all linked together that spoke with one voice, and that at the time when you're in dire straits, you need your mates, don't you? And so, if we can all stick together, I think it'd be pretty cool.
I mean, for me this year, obviously I've enjoyed the summer before it, but when we get combining, we've had poor yields due to that nice weather we had when we did the combine run. We've had ridiculous fertiliser prices still compared to what we were used to, and had to pay for 2 lots of fertiliser in the same year because interest rates have gone stupid. Merchants don't want to hold stuff, they don't want to risk it, you've got to have it and pay for it. So interest rates, fertiliser, poor yields, there's 3 or 4 things that have all come together all at one time, which aren't pretty good, and it's not helped me because I've tried to invest for the future by buying another farm, and it couldn't have come at a worse time. It was a few years worth of negotiations to buy the farm, to be fair, but yeah, it's a rubbish year really.
It's not been the best.
Not for the lost.
There will be better. But we've got to be positive about agriculture. I mean, agriculture's been about for quite some time.
Someone from Norway, 2023 is bad year for farmers all over the place, also in Norway.
In Norway it's bad. I wonder why it's bad in Norway.
What's the next biggest innovation you see coming in farming? Someone says disband the environment. There's 2 good topics there. Next biggest innovation in farming. It's going to be smart breeding, I think.
Yeah, genetics and bits and bobs, isn't
Genetics, stuff that won't really look any different, but will make things a bit easier. There's this sort of droney kind of swarm technology. I don't know whether it'll work around here if you've got a lot of drones working in the field. I think they might get stolen. But definitely smarter breeding, whether that's just more drought resistant, more water resistant, fungicide built into them, hardier.
Yeah, genetics are going to be key. I wonder if you had drones, will they know where the footpaths are? Can you imagine someone going out with a yellow pack and back and coming back with a red one? I can't see how that's going to work over here just at the minute.
No.
Maybe in America or somewhere where they're not quite so populated. But is it going to happen in Worcestershire or Yorkshire? I'm not quite sure.
What was the other one?
Lots of questions about NFU and bits and pieces. How come people who are sat in both NFU boards and Red Tractor boards deny knowledge?
I don't think they particularly deny the knowledge. They deny saying that they wanted it, and I believe that they did. I certainly did. But for some reason, you just didn't get listened to. When it was first announced to me, the green tractor module, I was like, Red Tractor at the moment doesn't offer any value. If you've got Red Tractor than a green tractor, then people are going to look at it and think, well, that's better than that because that's got 2 on. So that equally rubbishes the brand. I'll give you an example of that. I know a guy that sells turf on the internet. And turf says £2 a roll. He sells it for £6 a roll. How does he sell it for £6 a roll? By selling turf at £2 a roll, calling it second quality. and they're selling best quality for £6 a roll. So when you go on his website, you think, well, I'll buy the £6 a roll to stuff.
Yeah.
Because that's good stuff. Anything else on the internet that's £2, not. Now, that's a little bit like if you've got red tractor and green tractor, you're going to be like, well, that must be rubbish because that's more.
Well, it's the same with headache tablets, isn't it? If it's Anodin or Anodin Plus, have you got a headache or have you not got a headache, I'll have the Plus. It's the same sort of thing, isn't it? It's upselling.
Yeah.
Stella Artois, reassuringly expensive. I'll have Stella, please. It's a funny way of marketing, isn't it? Marketing's an odd thing. But I don't think Red Tractor's done much, hasn't given us much benefit in marketing. It's just been a gateway to market, which, when you're adding sort of layers and layers on it, just seems a bit of a pity, really, to me. But
the other thing as well with the whole greener module is, at the moment, if you want to borrow money off banks, they will give you better rates if you can prove some sort of carbon reduction from what you're borrowing the money for. So when I was getting a mortgage for the other farm, they said, will it save you any carbon? And we were like, well, we won't have to haul a load of straw back here for a start. We can store fertiliser, and we did some modelling to work out how much transport we would save by having an extra base near more land, and it enabled us to tick a box to get the money at a better rate. So is it called Scopa 2 and Scopa
3 and 4, isn't it?
Is this sort of stuff that come out of one of the COPS seminars? Is it COP 22 or 12? I don't know what it was called.
Yeah, one of the COPs.
One of the COPs.
One of the cop-outs.
Yeah, so supermarkets are like any other business will work with borrowed money or whatever. If they want to hit these green credentials, if they just can go, well, all we're going to do now is source stuff green tractor, because that can tick the boxes, it helps them with their money. But it shouldn't really, because it's not them doing the work.
No.
It's not them saving the carbon, it's
No.
us saving the carbon. So really, if they were clever about it, they should do their own.
If they do their own green credential, using the borrowed money that they've borrowed based on the green credential, surely it gives them more provenance of that money. Why should we be subsidising green money with our goods, technically? I know I don't quite understand the carbon market. The carbon market just seems to have grown out of nothing. It's a bit like lastminute.com. But at the moment, it's here. So if it's here and we can make money at it, happy days. But I don't really understand it, and I'll admit I don't understand it, because it all seems like a bit of a cowboy job. I noticed somebody's just come on there and said they're from Calgary. You know all about cowboys in Calgary. And we know all about cowboys in the carbon market. I'm not saying they all are, but it's very, very difficult to understand.
How convince the environmentalists that we need to start dredging? I think we could probably just tell them all to move to villages that lie low.
Yeah, lie low. I had a chat with Ollie this afternoon, actually, about Environment Agency, and having done bits of work on the river in the River Wye in Hereford, I've ended up working quite closely with the Environment Agency, and yes, everyone moans about them, and moans quite, I suppose quite validly about it. But the Environment Agency, I'm not standing up for them, I'm just giving you what I know is that they all work for the government. The government run the Environment Agency, DEFRA, RPA. It all comes out of the same pot of money, and the Environment Agency have found themselves in a funny position in that they're following government procedure. So even the Environment Agency are afraid to ask government for change and afraid to go up the chain because they just get moved. It's quite a political thing. So when you see someone in a van not doing the job that you'd like them to do, maybe it's better write to your MP than it is shout at them, because even they're frustrated. And I speak to quite a few of the Environment Agency guys on the ground. They are as frustrated as anybody with the workload and the principles of what they've got to do. So there we go, that's a bit political for you, but I'm very sorry, but it's the truth.
They're like the traffic wardens of the country.
Yeah, they are, aren't they?
Yeah,
they are.
We don't really do anything constructive.
Yeah, exactly.
Red Tractor seems to be run by retailers now. Well, so this is another thing. So when I was on the Red Tractor board a long time ago, not long after I'd first got on, they were trying to bring in a thing where if you wanted to have the Red Tractor on your product, you had to pay a license fee to Red Tractor. Well, they wanted to put that up like tenfold, I think it was, because they reckoned it give value back. The problem with that is Imagine most of Red Tractor was funded by the farmers, say 80% of the money came in from the farmers, and only 20% from the people that were doing this kind of stuff, the packers and the processors. When they suddenly started paying more for their license fee, they suddenly started what you call, whoever pays the piper calls the tune. So when they start giving more money to Red Tractor than farmers, Red Tractor then start to listen to them more than farmers. And it was our scheme. So I didn't agree with it in the beginning, but again, you're just one voice on that committee of 15 or 16 people. A couple of other people thought the same as me, that probably were farmers. But then it goes up again to another committee, and then the next thing you know, it's coming down the line, and that's it.
Yeah.
So,
is it a fait accompli? Is it a finished article, what we're left with? Probably not, because it's supposedly voluntary. My worry would be that if it became non-voluntary, that we'd end up having to do it by default. And that's partly down to the future negotiations, I'd suggest. What goes on between now and next March, April, May, I don't know. Don't know how long it will take, but it takes a long time to get grown-ups in a room, doesn't it?
I'm not anti-Red Tractor. I'm just really annoyed at the way it's gone. And I think it could work a lot better. And what did you say yesterday? Most wars are won.
Yeah, most wars are won finished and decided round a table. It's not going to be decided by shouting and making a noise. It's going to be decided around a table. And so as soon as we get around a table, or NFU can get around a table, or the players can get around a table, the better, because you're not going to get an outcome by shouting and tub thumping. Someone mentioned to me that they don't want tub thumping. Well, people tub thump when they're very angry and they're sort of backed into a corner. If they can only tub thump, that's what they'll do. But I think there's a place for a lot of discussion around a table, grown-up conversation, and that's where I'd be. Lots of questions on there. I've never done this before. It's quite an exciting thing.
Red Tractor are pushing for a voluntary green initiative in their reformed checklist when they visit continued.
Evening from Ross on Wye. Hello, Ross on Wye. I'll be back there in a minute.
How does that work when we still don't have a confirmed formula to record carbon in an arable business? Well, that's the other thing, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. It's a
run before they can walk.
It's an unknown art, and maybe there should be a standard carbon calculator, a standard carbon
linking fuel usage to tonnage of production and required cultivation to grow high yielding quality crops. Yeah, I mean, really, I think AHDB should own the carbon calculator stuff, because they are the only people that truly represent every farm in the UK, because they skim a bit off everyone.
Yeah, and they're independent.
Yeah.
They are independent. They could hold it.
Trusted by the government, because they're not quite a quango, but they're part of it.
What were the green tanks at Puffin?
Oh, right, yeah, so they were daffodil. Were they daffodil sterilisers or something like that? So I've forgotten.
Daffodil sterilisers? Were they? They boil them or something?
I
don't know.
Might be, yeah.
Maybe somebody will know. Who will police it? Who will police what?
As far as I'm concerned, the more schemes of farmers get involved with, the more the government will put it on us. Don't agree with none of it and never did, and nothing has so far convinced me otherwise. How you find the new discovery? Well, it's Charlotte, so yeah, it's a good thing. Who will police it? Good evening, gentlemen. I'd rather see Martin here on the stream.
Hello, Philip.
Who will police it? Well, the RPA, I suppose.
Police what? If the AHDP did it, or if
the carbon audit? Well,
the carbon audit? It's got to be sort of a government-y style thing, so it's got to come through government or via government. Well, it's got to be sort of backed by somebody to verify it, or else someone somewhere will take the money.
Would you not self-audit and then?
All the daffodil producers in Cornwall have them, apparently, those green tanks.
Oh, right.
They're for daffodil people. Hello, daffodil people.
Yeah, you did. I mean, it's a bit like the SFI, isn't it? You fill it all in, tell the truth, and if you've not told the truth, then one day you'll get found out by an audit, won't you?
But I don't think Red Tractor should audit it.
So, currently training young people in the industry, they don't seem to have the interest of being a part of the future.
Of leading the future.
This is something we should be concerned about. We might lose farmer leaders. Well, the problem is there's a few of them get frustrated that they can't make change.
Yeah, it's a job to get into a position of leadership, isn't it? I was very lucky. I did not that it made any difference. I did a worshipful company course back in 2010, and I didn't realise what it did for me until later on. I wondered what on earth we were talking about when we were there, but it's actually turned out quite good because you can do public speaking. It's a bit like young farmers, I suppose, like grown-up young farmers, and that was really, really good for me. So how do we get more people onto that? I don't know, nominate them. Where do you find people willing to lead agriculture? How many people are actually interested? I don't know. It's probably not that many. A lot of people are quite happy being at home and doing their thing, aren't they? How many people want to get into a position of talking to politicians and that? I'm not quite sure. When did you decide you wanted to do it?
What, talk to politicians?
Or haven't you decided? Have you decided yet?
I don't know.
No, exactly. It's a funny thing, isn't it?
It's much easier driving a combine.
Yeah, it was much easier driving the combine. That's a piece of cake.
Farmers marching on issues, food production, food security to be recognised. Food important as the UK must meet the same safety quite.
Well, that was an odd thing, wasn't it? That was Michael Gove. Michael Gove came out with, didn't he? Wasn't he talking on the farming programme to Tom Heap?
Yeah, could have been.
That was a while ago, and he said, we'll guarantee that nothing will come in that's at a different standard, but it doesn't seem to be the case. The one thing that really does bug me is that oilseed rape comes in from Ukraine, and we can't use neonics and they can, and it goes in the same heap. That just seems ridiculous.
How many farms have shut the gates due to legislation? Quite a lot.
As a percentage, how are you? What are you today?
A good day, 80%, 85 maybe, yeah.
Yeah, I've had a nice day today.
Tiring week, but yeah.
Yeah, we're a bit tired. We were out on Thursday night, so I'm going to say I'm about 80%.
I've eaten 2 roast dinners. So
yeah, we've had 2 roast dinners today. We've done the lamb trade fantastic today. Yeah.
There was another one. How many farms have shut the gates, and there's going to be a lot soon.
Yeah, I think farming's going to change over the next 10 years. I was talking to someone last Tuesday, and they said they were going to put 2 farms into SFI completely and keep one at home. They weren't going to sell their kit. They were hoping that they'd be able to increase their soil organic matter, and so that when things got a bit better, they could use the kit again on those same farms. But if lots and lots of people do that, 2 things. One, okay, we'll lose areas of production. Does that matter if they're making a living? Maybe, maybe not. The other thing it does is that, unfortunately, the budget for agriculture is 2.4 billion, I think, for England, and which
is about a quarter what the trains get.
Yeah, and it's a competitive pot. So once it's gone, it's gone. So everybody can't do that, can they? So
the other thing as well that's happening here is the government is very, very worried about more food inflation. So the whole let's stop imports coming in that don't meet our standards. In reality, if you did that tomorrow, people would be hungry in a week, and the supermarkets would be empty, and the food would go up. That's the danger there that they're worried about happening. Getting them to understand the importance of UK food production is difficult. It's probably easier than it was 3 years ago, because no one had seen empty shelves till COVID, had they?
No, they hadn't. Unless you run at a loo roll.
Yeah, and then it.
COVID highlighted the supply chain, didn't it? Which was massive, really.
Yeah, but people seem to be forgetting that already. Then we had Ukraine, which then meant that we were short of some of the salads and the veg crops that come in cheaply from places like Spain that either have better climates or cheaper fuel. But
then it was eggs.
Yeah.
Then it was eggs.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So I mean, we get these sort of fluctuations, but I think we'd struggle perhaps with supply if we didn't bring it in. And there are a lot of people living on the breadline, and I can understand if you were in government. I think there's 80,000 farmers are there in England.
80,000. We think so, yeah.
80,000-ish. It's probably not that many votes, is it? So realistically, we've got to speak loud and keep ourselves at the front of the queue, because we're only 80,000 people, which is quite sad.
The other thing that again annoys me is every pound's worth of food brought from abroad is money leaving the UK economy. It's just gone. Well, if we produce that here, it would stay in our economy. it would get spent. The wages would be, the plumber would sell the food, the wages would be paid to the staff would spend it in the shop. They go round and round and round unless they bought a foreign car.
Didn't it used to be £1 in every 7 went through Tesco's?
Something like
Is that right?
Yeah.
That's quite astonishing, isn't it? So people are buying food. £1 in every 7 goes through Tesco's.
But if they didn't make more money from other sources, how long would it be before we'd run out of money by buying foreign food? Like, how many billion a year do we spend abroad for food
I don't know.
that we could grow here?
And how many billion pounds of food do we export?
Not as much.
Don't know that either.
Not as much as we import. I
No.
mean, we do add value to it by turning it into whiskey. That's probably the biggest. That's
Yeah.
something that's grown in the field. Turn into the most highest value is probably.
Well, while you drink your added value water, this is water. Even Ollie's buying water.
Yeah,
What's
but it's
that about?
fizzy.
It's fizzy.
Because look, they're getting a soda stream and the cost of the gas.
Yeah. CO2 industry is doing pretty well out of bottled water. This is probably worth more than milk. How much is milk?
Definitely.
35
Well,
per
if you
litre.
get it from Costco, it's about 11 pence a bottle. So actually, it's not. But
No,
if you
it's
buy
not
it
too
from like a corner shop or a supermarket, it will be dearer than milk.
Costco's must have been through about 3 people, has it, before it gets in the bottle
Well, Costco, it's a loss leader. They get you in the shop,
for the water.
yeah, and then sell you a load of stuff that you never knew you needed.
Really?
But you better buy it while it's there because it might not be there next time.
I was talking to a guy today who makes mops. This is really random. And he's making mops up north up north, depends where you're living. Up north in Rochdale, was it? And he makes 27 million mops a year for the cleaning industry. And I said, do you use wooden handles? And he said, no, we use aluminium handles now. Because the aluminium handles stay clean. There you are, 27 million mops a year. That's some business, isn't it? Who knew there were 27 million mops in the world, in the country? I know it's a bit random, but it's something a chap was talking to me about today.
Fizzy water, there's a story here. So when I went to the Ukraine a few years ago, because we were guests of Syngenta and they took us around all these farms, because we were like important people, they put on a big spread everywhere they went and they got us fancy water. And I didn't like fizzy water, but if you didn't drink it, you were thirsty because that was all they were giving us, because it was a treat.
Yeah.
So you're like, anyway, after 3 days, it's really nice, and normal water now tastes flat. So that is why I drink sparkling water now. And also, no one on the yard likes it. So if you leave it in a tractor, it's still there when you come back to it.
Is it
Got the
really?
fridge, yeah.
Well, on the combine run, was it James that wouldn't drink fizzy water?
Yeah.
Yeah, we went on the combine run. We had bottles and bottles of this from Costco, and James would rather die of thirst and he'd drink out of a puddle than he would actually drink fizzy water.
Janet Simpson, keep up the good work. Here's the challenge 24. You're going to need your own channel.
Yeah, we're thinking of doing a game show. Should we do a game show?
What can we do that beats the combine run? Come on, there's 500 people watching. Surely with 500 people we can come up with something.
There's got to be something we can do. Maybe not next year, but in the future. What would you like to see done? What could do better than the combine run?
That's shut them up.
It does shut 'em up,
now,
yeah. The guy from Calgary, if somebody on about the Calgary Stampede today, when's the Calgary Stampede? Do you know when that is?
I think it's our summertime, isn't it? There's
I don't
something
know.
similar, yeah.
I don't know.
Ian said that, Ian Hudson.
Was it Ian?
I think is it June? The federal Canadian government have found a way to subsidise dairy, poultry and eggs through supply and management systems. It's very effective. Combine run in reverse the whole way. How about road trips UK?
That's in July. Thanks, Ian.
Someone said Dakar Rally in the fast track.
Yeah, if the aircon's working.
Yeah, the only thing is I haven't got a fast track anymore.
How are farmers making a profit if the margins are so tight and the machinery so expensive? Economies of scale, some are selling high value crops, mostly high value crops that are making a bit of money. It is getting harder and harder. We were talking earlier, we went to the David Brown Museum earlier on, and there was a guy there saying that, oh, this one here was £8,000 when it was new. I don't know which one it was, but it was £8,000 when it was new.
I think it was the one of the last they made.
Yeah, well, they've gone a bit different. I mean, you put a set of tyres on a tractor now, it's £8,000. It's a different business. Everyone looking over the hedge would say, look at that farmer. look at him. I nearly swore there, but the posh sod with his expensive tractor. Well, it's not quite that, because I dare say he's in partnership with the bank, most of them, because the stuff is just so expensive. Do the same run, but on a Caterpillar.
Might squash
That'd be a
him.
bit slow, wouldn't it? Yeah.
Wouldn't it turn into a butterfly before? we
Yeah,
got
it probably would be a butterfly by Perth.
there? Someone said if everyone presses the thumbs up, get some choices and put it in a hat and see which you pull out. Well, we haven't got the choices.
We haven't got the choices now. We
don't know how. We want to go bigger and better, but how?
We did wonder about doing something abroad.
Yeah.
Whether that would work or whether it wouldn't work.
Maybe Ireland, or there's breaking the land speed record with that machine, because I think it'd be nice to market, which is doable, but it won't be as interactive as the combine one, where we have to be a lot of people.
You'll have to get up in the night to do it, but breaking the land speed record with it before he breaks it all to pieces, because there's not much left of it after all. He's had it for a summer. It's a lot lighter now than it was. It looks like Mad Max has had it for a week. He's had bits off it and bits on it. But yeah, what could we do that's better? A tractor convoy going through multiple countries, maybe. Becomes a bit difficult. When we were doing the combine thing, the most awkward part of it was when we had the header. We drove with the header through, I don't know where we went, was it Preston or Liverpool or somewhere?
Well, it was from Berska to Widnes.
Berska to Widnes. And because it was, a combine was relatively simple on its own, because it was a one-piece thing. When you've got a header as well, we soon fell out of love with having the header, because it was such a nuisance to try and get across traffic lights, around cars, to get in front of. It really was hard work. It was very nice to see it, but it was we were glad to see the back of it as well. Oilseed rape, what's that there? Something about oilseed rape. Excuse my big finger.
Did you see we also know the standard oilseed rape is one of the annoys me, 57,000 tonnes imported in 2015-16, 2021 956,000 tonnes.
Not sure if that's a fact, but it's off statistical website. Goodness
Probably
knows.
is, to be fair.
Statistical website said I was 20 stone, but I'm not.
What about going via sea, some in a boat?
Reminds me of sort of Del Boy, some jolly boys out.
Yeah.
4 of us hanging over the side of a boat being sick.
Go around the whole coastline of the UK in the Zerion.
Yeah.
You get annoyed with the seagulls, wouldn't you?
Yeah, I think you would. And we'd have to change that exhaust unless you've changed it back
We have
already.
now, yeah.
You have, thank God.
Revolve market in the UK.
What if we missed one out, though? What if we missed one out? Wardy was talking about imports of oilseed rape. Was he really? You don't want to listen to him. Wardy's gone to the Harvest Festival in Lincoln, so he's singing his little heart out and holding a marrow at the moment.
Coastline of the UK in the Batman. Presumably in Bateman.
In the Bateman.
It's not big though, is it?
No.
What's big, wide, and never been done before?
Never been done. Something that's never been done.
And someone wouldn't be stupid enough to do it again.
Next challenge, vintage combine with 13 traction belts.
What's that say? Last said you had an idea. Is that the one still a possible? You said is a secret. Yeah, there is something planned. Well, not planned, but in the pipeline. It's still secret at the moment because we don't want to let the cat out of the bag and someone else go and do it with a different manufacturer. Nürburgring and the combine. We've actually talked about that, to be fair, and we're in Germany in a few weeks' time with at Agritechnica, and we will be meeting with some people from class. Would I produce my own rapeseed oil? Well, funnily enough, I have some which we should really put to market. At the moment, I'm thinking of a boating lake.
We did actually try and get onto Silverstone, didn't we, with the combine?
Yeah, this year after the run, but before the Grand Prix, they were worried about the weight. We had to get all the axle weights for them.
And eventually they wouldn't let us do it. They thought we might have spoiled Max Verstappen's lap with the divots that we put in the tarmac.
Something. Is that the Janet Simpson who's been out all day celebrating Angie's birthday?
Yeah, it could well be.
Take the birthday bumper on the road. Try and next out. That's that like combine that goes sideways down the road, isn't it? Calgary to Vancouver in a combine driving.
How far's that? Calgary to Vancouver?
Don't know. You could do a mud run in one of the field. We could.
A mud run? Have you seen me in Lycra?
That's
I
good,
want to
Chris.
see my combine polo shirt yesterday. Lovely shirt.
Brand new 12 series road. Do you know what? I don't think there's many built yet.
No.
You know, if you think there's only a handful of them, they're not going to give one to us, are they, for a bit?
They might one day.
Yeah. I think they're going to give it to a customer that's
Yeah.
paying them.
A customer with some money.
Well, it's the first £1 million tractor, they said.
Yeah,
That
yeah.
$1 million, €1 million. That's list price, though, isn't it? You won't pay that.
No, depends on what radio you have. I expect whether it's £1 million or not.
Yeah. So, has anyone got any more questions? Maybe any NFU related ones? In fact, is anyone watching in the NFU?
2,000 mile harvest. Where do we start? Where do we finish?
You can only do it in America.
Yeah, we'd have a job to do it here. You wouldn't be able to do much harvesting until you found a sunny
Calgary
day.
to Vancouver, 850 kilometres. Oh, that's nothing. We can do 9
Go.
for you. Are you going to Agritechnica?
Yes, we are. Hydrogen JCB run.
Longest tractor combine in the UK. That's going to...
That would probably upset
A lot of
more
people.
than one.
Yeah,
Fast track around all the racetracks in the UK.
in a day.
A tour of rude place names.
That would be funny.
That would be
actually,
funny, yeah. Yeah, tour of rude place names. What do you like about Herefordshire? Oh, God. What's not to like about Herefordshire? I know everybody that says, when you say where do you live, and they say Lincolnshire or Derbyshire or wherever it might be, everyone says that it's the best place in the world. But I think genuinely Herefordshire is, because I live there. There's not many crops that you can't grow in Herefordshire. There's not much that you can't do in Herefordshire. It's central. Tom Rees from Pembrokeshire would love to live in Hereford because he wouldn't have 3 hours journey to get to it. You can grow any crop in Herefordshire. It's the most varied agriculture, probably, unless you tell me different, in the UK. We've got soft fruit, sheep, hops, every single thing you can think of, dairy, asparagus, apples. It is a fantastic, fantastic county. What's the downside of it? The downside of it, it's very competitive because they say that people are hungry there with full bellies, and it's quite right. People are very, very competitive, very, very hungry for land, and very, very entrepreneurial. But it's a really, really good county to live in.
It's quite a productive climate as well, isn't it? There?
How did my harvest go? Harvest was, I'd say, average. Things that looked very good in March didn't look so good after June. Wheat was, I'd say it was very, very average.
Kilometers.
Rape was very poor, I just said. We barely scraped. We wouldn't have got 1.5 ton of rape to the acre. Wheats, I'd say they're 3 ton average, 3.25 maybe. It just wasn't very exciting. It would be nice to have a full shed, wouldn't it?
Right. We've missed so many.
We've missed a lot, I'm sorry.
Right. Calgary to Vegas is 2,000 kilometres.
2,000 kilometres.
Andrew Meredith, can you do it?
A pithy explanation of the weighted county voting system. I would if I could understand it, but as far as I understand it, you're talking NFU, I would imagine there.
Is that Andrew Meredith from the Farms Weekly?
I don't know, unless there's another one. Do you think there's another one?
I don't know. Would he own up to it if it was?
We can probably give you a pithy explanation because I don't really understand how it works. But I think the regions have, by number of farmers, a different number of votes.
Yeah.
And so it's sort of weighted as per the number of
Farmers
members in that area. I always thought that Wales would have had loads of votes, but I don't think Wales has loads of votes. I don't know why. Do you? No, I don't.
I don't know how that works.
But I think the southwest, like Devon and Cornwall, there's lots of little farms down there, and some very good ones, and some very nice ones. But they have quite a big sway, big voting number, I think.
How many dealership signs can you hit with a combine challenge?
What do I farm? Wheat, oats, peas, oilseed rape, grassland. Haven't got any animals, but I have animals. I used to have animals. I used to have beef, but TB cleared me out. I had about 250, 300 beef cattle at one stage, and I lost 100 one Christmas, which they came and shot on the farm. and that was pretty much the end of cattle for me. It just became untenable to keep them. It's better now for various reasons, but I haven't gone back into cattle.
Drive your crop master around the top rated farm shops. Do you know what? There's a farm shop in Holly's Farm Shop in Cheshire. Quite a big, famous one. Charge a lot, a little bit like the one at the Cotswolds at Dalesford.
Right.
Charlotte went to buy something the other day, and it was like a pre-prepared chicken thing. And it said EU chicken. It wasn't UK chicken.
What, in a farm shop?
Yeah, because they said it was too expensive.
What?
So, there we go.
What's that about?
Plough, HS2 line Birmingham to Manchester. Charity competition between farm users who can break the most kit in a year.
Hello, Mike.
Good evening, guys. There's a tractor run. Come on, going on the tractor run. I think it might be a static display somewhere, and it could be Bolesworth Castle, if not here. Do you think in 5 years' time there'll be more fields full of houses and solar panels than crops?
Not than crops. No, not than crops.
Drive your crop master around. Tour of dairy farms where they asked.
Vanessa, it must have been a very bad question.
I know,
you retracted and she's taken it off.
I have a
Wonder
feeling
what
it
that
might
was.
be David on Vanessa's iPad.
Oh, I reckon it's David on Vanessa's iPad as well.
How about trying to do something in the longest day like a cancer charity do with golf? Something on the longest day.
Staying on the longest day.
We were near the longest day on the combine run. Oh yeah, there's the how much ash. Fanny Bush Lane.
How did you two meet? Yeah, we met through AHDB. We did explain that a little bit earlier on, but if you missed it, we met through AHDB. We did a meeting up near here, only about 2 miles away, and we seemed to get on okay. And we haven't fallen out yet.
Have you sold a 7710 yet? No, I only told people I was selling it today, didn't I? Was it yesterday?
I've just been round it actually. It's very tidy. We've just been looking at it out in the yard. It's really, really tidy. A little bit of tea cut and it'd be polished and it'd be lovely.
What's the NFU doing about the demise of OSR production in the UK as we have lost near-nick dressing yet still allowing hundreds of thousands in the UK? Not enough. How's the corn coming along? Well, it's
wet.
It's learning to swim.
It's wet. I'm convincing myself that the crows on my corn are eating the slugs rather than the corn. But we'll have to see.
Top salesman.
Top salesman. What have I sold? What have I sold?
You talking about
Oh, you're 7, 8, 10. Oh, yeah. No, it's good. And the radio works.
Taking opinions back to government and levy boards rather than telling the NFU and the NFU telling farmers.
Hello, Lee.
Yeah. What about doing something around the country with the air ambulance?
What, in it? Or because of it?
I've been in it once.
Have you
on
really?
The floor, but not.
What were you in the air ambulance for?
Well, he invited me to the base.
Oh, right. You weren't in there as a patient.
No.
No.
Sheffield's auction was so big. You should do this more often. It's a good watch.
Is it really? There must be nothing on the telly tonight if you're sat watching us, to be fair.
The cat's just recovered from the air horns off the combine.
Yeah, we've just recovered from listening to it as well. Yeah. Who got knocked out of Strictly tonight? Anybody know? I've missed Strictly this year. You don't watch Strictly, do you?
No.
It's not your thing. Telly isn't his thing at all. I'm more of a telly boy than he is, but there we go. He does more of this stuff.
Come to Ireland, coming through Ross on there.
Crossing
Work
there,
your way
work
around
around
from
from
there.
there. Just dropped in and think.
Seeper.
Seeper? Don't know who Seeper are.
Who's Tony Hall?
Who's Tony Hall? Tony Hall, okay. This is, he's going to be cringing in his chair at home. Tony Hall is a friend of mine from Hereford. He's a farmer. He grows a few potatoes and some apples and some corn. Really, really nice guy. And we've got this sort of standing joke. He's an absolute Ollie super fan. I'll be so embarrassed. I'm going to embarrass him even
He
worse.
randomly turned up about a year.
Yeah, I'm going to really embarrass him because he rang me and he said, "You're not going to believe where I am. I'm at Ollie's." You what? And he turned up. He brought his daughter up to Liverpool to the university. And
it was this time of year because Henry's going around.
Yeah, and he just decided because he was such a super fan that he'd call in on Ollie. Ollie wasn't in, so he went across and called in on his dad. And ever since, he's been like Ollie's #1 fan. So every time I'm up here, it's a standing joke. Since the combine thing, I came up and I texted him and found out when his birthday was. And it's not relevant to his birthday, but we put him on the bumper every time I'm here because we can. and he gets a lot of ribbon around his local buying group, Pembridge buying group, from Phil Sankey and others. And tomorrow morning is going to be no different. I should imagine his phone's gone wild just now. So that's who Tony Hall is.
SEPA is the Scottish Environment Protection Agency, SEPA. We might meet some of them if we go up to
Orkney.
Orkney.
Yeah, we're going to go up to Orkney.
We might be on tour at the beginning of December.
Yeah, we're going up to Orkney, beginning of December. If you want to go to Orkney to see us, that's where we'll be. 1st and 2nd, is it, I think? It's the weekend. It's the first weekend in December. And we're going to go there and talk about mental health and the combine run and farming on a couple of islands, which I'm really looking forward to because I've never been there before. I think in December it probably doesn't get daylight, only for about an hour at lunchtime, but I'm sure it's lovely up there and we're looking forward to go.
Have you ever thought of doing your own YouTube channel? Lisa says. He has
No.
OnlyFans.
Yeah, exactly. No, I'm not quite as astute at the social media as Ollie. I'm more of a stand in the back, round the back, and have a look. I like looking over his shoulder.
My illustrious.
See you, Mike.
Don't get it. Bye, Mike. Don't understand that.
No, I don't know that either.
That's after 20 plus years. Lister, do you not know? Oh yeah, I'm 30 years old now. I've got an old Lister. I don't know. I presume it's a tractor.
I presume it's a tractor. My Lister has been sat for 20 plus years.
Oh, and he's got it running.
Ah, well done. Well done. Does it fire every minute or something? Don't they sit in the corner and just go poof and then poof about 3 minutes later?
Lee's got to go as well. Is it bedtime?
See, Lee, is it bedtime now?
8:24.
Ever given a minute thought to having cows?
Seeing cheap grain in the shed and some straw. It's a scale thing now, isn't it?
Mm.
You need Lister D stationary engine. You need
a lot of cows.
You need 300 or 400 to make something, don't you?
Yeah, you need a lot of cows to make it worthwhile. But I used to have cows. I've been through dairy. My dad came out of dairy in 1970s. We've still got the milk bottle tops. We used to bottle milk it's still called the dairy in the house actually. Used to have the milk bottle tops, and I used to put the tops on with a rubber thing under an aluminium top. That was my job, and it was sort of strained through a piece of muslin filter. It was hardly homogenized. It was just stuck down through a jug. And so when we did the milk round, we had those, and then we went into beef cattle after that, which was quite fun. I quite enjoyed the beef cattle. I still have cattle in the sheds in the winter. I quite enjoy feeding them. I know it's a bit bizarre, but Christmas morning, having some heads through a manger is quite nice.
Do you think
The floods
are worse by Mintill compared to ploughland? No, the opposite.
No, the floods. What happened in Herefordshire? This is really boring. I'm really sorry, but in Herefordshire, there was a guy from government came round, and he said in April he stood up in the front of in the Green Dragon Hotel in Hereford, and I can't remember the date now off the top of my head, but he turned up in April, and there were about 300 people sitting in this hotel. And I actually sat next to Jeff Sampson, a much younger Jeff Sampson at the time, who's now the head of agriculture at Natural England. And we were sat there, and this guy with these leather elbow patches stood on the stage, and he turned to everybody and he said, "Okay guys, you live on the Wye, you've got river meadows, we're going to stop you ploughing them this autumn. You will not be allowed to plough your river meadows after this autumn. Because we're going to make it into a site of special scientific interest." And so every man and his dog went home, and they ploughed it in that week. They thought, well, we'll put spuds in there, or we'll do something. And that was probably the biggest turnaround in recent times on what happened in the Wye. And it's created a lot of problems. And I've told the guy since, because he actually does environmental work now, and I've reminded him several times that it was his fault on how they delivered the message. And so going forward with SFI, sorry to be boring and not talking about Calgary and Lister engines, but it's a sort of a consequence of a knee-jerk reaction and making stupid errors and stupid mistakes. And so agriculture's got to be really careful how it makes its decisions, because everything has a consequence. And going back to Red Tractor, everything has a consequence. Going back to SFI, everything has a consequence. and we've got to be so careful of looking ahead and seeing what the problems might be. Sorry, that was really dull.
There's so many things. So,
did I watch last night's rugby game? Yes, I did. I couldn't believe it, actually. I think Vincent Cott played a blinder in the second half. He played the referee fantastically. We didn't learn, and unfortunately, with 2.5 minutes to go, we lost. But I'm a Wales fan, believe it or not.
When did you get to go on holiday, Ollie? I think you need a challenge. You need one this year. I can't afford one. I've been busy. When you were talking about actually tear the car down, you should get old ends running. How about landing in reverse gear?
We could do it with reverse drive. Joe Seal's got cows. Just watched his video. Bless him.
Did you watch the Rufford Ford? I did actually.
Yeah, we did actually. Driving over the concrete
block. I wondered
block.
what it bounced over when it first went in.
Feeding the cattle on Christmas Day, something.
A farmer raced to the flag agricultural machine of your choice from a certain decade. Don't really understand that. Bye, Carl.
Trafford CSF got man of the match. Yeah, possibly. Who would you have given it to? Please don't say Farrell.
Ian's going. He's got to go to the mall. It's very
Bye, Ian.
Avril Lavigne.
Avril Lavigne, yeah.
Any free.
Might find a skater boy. Who was that? That was somebody else. Was that Avril Lavigne, skater boy?
She was a skater boy.
That was Avril Lavigne, wasn't it? I'm so trendy. Get my Spotify.
Was just an OSO in the pipeline. Well, that's the smart breeding stuff, isn't it? Could you find a market for your barley and wheat without Red Tractor? Probably, yeah. There's a lot of stock farms.
Probably.
Particularly bothered, to be fair.
Yeah. The Red Tractor's a funny thing, isn't it? Let's go and talk about Red Tractor just for a second because it's very trendy. The whole farm assurance thing on a livestock.
Oh, actually, someone said, bizarre. What is it? So Lisa said, what is it?
George Martin or Courtney Laws. Really? Yeah, George Martin played well. He took a couple of line-outs, didn't he? Yeah, Ollie doesn't know what we're talking about.
No.
But Red Tractor, whole life assurance is something that possibly should be looked at. I can't understand
something with it on.
I can't understand how an animal can only need to be on a farm for, is it 60 days before it becomes Red Tractor assured? And that just seems bizarre to me. When everybody wants to check up on your feed and your milling license and your dog's been wormed and all the rest of it, why on earth would it be 60 days and it's allowed to be a Red Tractor? Go Martin down the street with something. I can't with a kilt on, really. 90 days is it, John? Thanks, John. Well, 90 days. It just seems madness. Absolute madness.
Is the Red Tractor logo.
And it means that
you can only see 33% of the Union Jack.
29%. 29%. According to Phil Sankey, 29% of the Union Jack is shown on the Red Tractor. Martin, no, this isn't very relevant, but if you could pick a classic car, what would you pick? Oh, if I could pick a classic car. Someone was showing me some pictures the other day of an Austin Healey, and as I'm a rugby fan, I'm quite like that. I'm a bit sad. I quite like a Rover SDI. Is that a classic car? Those old Rover 3.5 litre things.
That the one that Tony Pondrive drove around the
TT circuit? Yeah, it was. Yeah, I quite like that.
That's on YouTube.
I know that's not really classic. If I would go really back and back and back, I'd probably go for one of those long-nosed Lagonda things with the long bonnet on it, with the straps on, that you lift up and put down. I think that would be the coolest thing. One of those old things. I could wear a leather cap and some glasses.
Boston Classic Car Club. George Martin.
Hello, Austin. Fantastic.
I think they wanted a
Rover Vitesse.
A Rover.
No, there's the thing. You never hear anybody say they want an Austin Princess, do you? Would you buy a Massey, me or Ollie? I used to have a couple of Masseys. I was a Massey man. We had 590s, 165s. 1976, we had a couple of 165s. Then we had a 590, which was 3-wheel drive. And the last two Masseys I had was a 6485. And I bought it off plan. It was before they were built. Because I wanted a Fendt and I couldn't afford one. And they said, we're bringing out a 6485. And so I said, well, that's perfect. It's 180 horsepower. It's got Dyna 6. It's got all those things. Anyway, they said, your tractors come in. It was at Ross Farm Machinery. And so I went to have a look at this thing. Oh my God, it was the biggest tractor I've ever seen in my life. It was nothing like the 6480. It was just huge. So then I had a 7485 and The 7485 was better than the 6485 because of that Dyna 6 thing. And subsequently, that was the end of it. So would I want a Massey? Not for a bit. Would you?
They've not quite got them right, have they?
No, they haven't.
I don't like the cabs. I feel like the passengers perched and falling on
Yeah,
you.
they've only been making them for about 100 years and they still haven't quite got them right.
Would you buy a 1050 Fendt if I could afford it? Yeah, but I can't. Ford Focus RS Mark 2. Can't beat a 5 on the sound.
Quattro. Quattro would be a nice car, wouldn't it?
Mm.
Short wheelbase Quattro. Martin, you should bring Ollie to Murrayfield for the Six Nations and have a great weekend. Do you want a story about Ollie and rugby? Yeah. Ollie, my mate, was offered some tickets for the World Cup final and didn't want to go. It's not his thing. It's just
In
not his
Paris.
thing. In Paris. Can you believe it? Yeah.
I'd have been gutted if they'd have won last night because it'd have been.
It would have been England final.
Yeah.
I can't believe he's actually my mate. Yeah.
Rover Vitesse is what. Oh. And then he got a Lexus. I've got a Lexus.
I had an Austin Maestro, one of those ones that used to talk to you.
What's
And
he
it'd
called?
say
The comedian
fuel
had one,
empty.
didn't he?
Lee Mack.
No. From Norfolk.
Peter Kay.
No, the radio from DJ from Norfolk, comedy guy. Oh.
While you're thinking, yeah, I had a MG Maestro, and I raced a guy. It was at the time of the XR3Is, and I was a bit alternative, and I raced my neighbour in this MG Maestro away from the Young Farmers Rally one night. Jumped over a humpback bridge and split the sump, and that was the end of my MG Maestro.
Alan Partridge, there we go.
Here we go. My uncle's a mechanic from the team who won and raced the GT40. I've actually been lucky enough to go round Goodwood Revival in the Ford Museum's GT40. I was invited to go there and meet the guy from Ford, and he said, "What are you doing at 2:00?" Yes, Alan Partridge. And he said, "I've sorted it for you to go around the track in a GT40. What a fantastic piece of equipment that is." I
The
think it
new
was
one or the old one?
The old one. I think it was 12 million quid worth. 1960s something.
Could buy a
Lamar
good
thing.
farm for that.
I know. They only get it out now and then. Yeah, GT40 is a nice car, but I did have to be shoehorned into it. I know this screen makes me look fat. I'm actually very, very slim. It's the one thing that people say to Ollie when we're out. You look slimmer in real life. Believe it or not, I'm only a 32 regular. Yeah.
Great stream, guys. Keep up the cheers. Austin Swine.
Swineshead, Lincolnshire. Hi, Austin. Thanks very much.
Oh, I was thinking that was a car.
Oh, really? No, it's an Austin Swineshead. I don't think they sold many of those.
Dairy Farm was created as the back in the day.
Sorry, that's my big finger. But keep it. Could they do it again? Keep it good for the British farmer. Could they? It's a bit like the post office, isn't it? If you're trying to reinvent a wheel now, a big wheel like that takes some doing. If somebody gave you...
Amazon is it though, isn't it?
But if someone gave you 50p and said, "Will you take this letter to Scotland?" you probably wouldn't, would you? Takes some doing. I don't know how as farmers you create something like that. Quite. I just don't know where the will.
The only
would be.
way you do it is if you could get some investors. But then the investors would want a return, and the return that they'd want would mean...
Yeah, it would mean you didn't make any money.
Yeah. So there's
I think it'd be what would be an interesting thing. Someone asked earlier on what's the nice thing about Herefordshire. I think Herefordshire produces lots of stuff, and it could almost have its own supermarket, its own, instead of it being a farm shop, it could be like the county supermarket. I just don't know if any counties could do that and make it work. That would be an easy way of doing it. It'd be like a collaborative thing.
Someone's uncle built a GT40, and then someone said the McLaren for not going to the Rugby World Cup.
Really? Yeah.
Have you ever been to France? There's just dog muck everywhere.
Yeah. It is nice though, isn't it? Been to Paris show, you ever been there?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's not bad, is it?
No,
First went there at college.
it's not as good as Agritechnica.
No, not as good as Agritechnica. No, Agritechnica, hopefully it's good. Anybody going to Agritechnica?
In fact, the people that are watching, we're talking farming, but how many people are farmers that are watching and
Yeah.
how many aren't? All the farmers.
Yeah, how do
All
we
the
do that?
farmers might not know how to type now.
Yeah, how many people are sat in their pants with their iPad on their lap?
Martin the tractor run if it's a go, hopefully. The trip back
Yeah,
there.
hopefully another trip back up here. We were saying earlier on, I think I need a caravan up here because I seem to spend a lot of time on that M6 coming up to see him.
You could actually get a job for the environment, the highways agency counting the potholes.
I could, yeah. Yeah,
And the bridges.
I can do the gaps in the road now over the bridge. I can tell when I'm going over junction 12. Ba-dum, ba-dum, ba-dum. Maybe start a YouTube channel and raise awareness. Yes, I'm a small farmer in Cornwall. Not a farmer, Sue. What are you then, Sue? I'm not a farmer. I have a
Aussie farmer?
fascination about the industry.
Oh,
Farmer. Wish I was a farmer.
they're all coming up a bit quick now.
Yeah, they are. Invest in Lancia Stratos. I used to be a farmer. Hiya, Jim. Ex-farm worker. Hello, M&J Lawn Mowing Service. You enjoying the lawn mowing?
Contractor.
Use. Don't know what that means. Live on the family farm, we work on a farm 30. Live on a family farm, but work on a farm 33
Crossing
miles away.
Shetland. How about farmer scrap heap challenge? Extractor driver. No, not farmer civil service. Sure, it's a Defra, do you think?
Really? Which
Ex-farmer
civil service?
Zag,
Which civil
farmer
service?
Swan, not a farmer. White van man. Dairy farmer. Not a farmer. Not a farmer. Unfortunately, still my dream. Not a farm, but life.
Isn't it
Little
fantastic that we moan about farming, or there's lots of issues in farming, and it's still people's dream? And we were lucky enough to go out the other night. We met a guy who grew up in a 2 up, 2 down, and he was so chuffed because he'd managed to buy himself 120 acres of land, didn't he? And now he's farming, and he's learning all about farming. It's such an aspirational job and such an aspirational thing to have a little bit of land. It's fantastic. So it's such a shame when we get talked down. There's so much to be positive about.
The easiest way to get into farming now is to make money and then buy your own.
Yeah, there's lots of people that do that.
If you want to own a farm, you want to work on one. There's loads of people wanting staff, but
Yeah, but there's lots of ways in, aren't there? I mean, you can become like an agronomist, manages technically lots of farms, but you don't need to own it possibly. There's loads of jobs within agriculture without having to own a farm.
asbestos surveyor.
Asbestos surveyor. Dairy farmer and contractor. So in Triticale tomorrow. Where do
What,
you
in
live?
Spain?
Where do you live, Doug? Crikey, what are you doing with a helicopter?
Lancashire has a country shop, a co-op, truck mechanic on drainage trucks.
Robert Higgins. Are you in a wheelchair, Robert? Sorry to hear that.
There's a guy makes lifts though. What? Make him in farmer start
With 3 mil. Yeah. It's a great business to be in, though, isn't it?
Not
So-
this year, no.
No, not this year, but the community is the community part of it's lovely. We've been out today and we went to the David Brown Museum up in, where did we go? Was it
Meltham Mills.
Meltham Mills, which is somewhere, and we bumped into some people, and you've always got something in common. It's a fantastic thing. There's not many industries where people would talk like that.
But look at it another way. There's industries out there where they make money, whether it rains or not,
Yeah.
and whether it's dry. And when we see torrential rain, we think, well, that's knackered the week we've sown this
Yeah,
week.
yeah.
Whereas they think, oh well, we won't do the last 2 holes on the golf
No,
course.
I'll put a coat on.
We'll go the
Yeah, we'll go to Weatherspoons.
we'll go the 19th hole now.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
you know, and that's the thing, isn't it? And when we were doing the combine run, the weather was amazing.
Yeah.
And I was like, we could do a bit of rain on that week.
We were so lucky doing that. It was so dry, wasn't it? We didn't have a wet moment.
That Calvin?
That Calvin
It was, yeah.
Yeah, it was actually, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. They were drinking corn in Cornwall today, really?
Yeah, Joe's had some really bad. Had to get all his cows out of floods on him.
Is he really?
Just outside Glasgow, and they're ploughing today and sowing tomorrow.
Really? I thought it was flooded up there. Did you miss the rain?
That was the week before, I think, wasn't it?
Ex-farm, now planter. They were drilling corn in Cornwall. There's always drilling in Cornwall. There's always a dry field in Cornwall.
It's that wind.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. This is too good to leave.
I better go.
Yeah.
We should
go because I've got to drive home yet, which take me 3 hours.
And it's We've been on for 70.
70 minutes.
Yeah.
So I'm
well,
sorry.
longer than that because we spent ages trying
Yeah,
to
we
get
did. So I'm really sorry we've spoilt your evening.
Yeah.
Thanks for joining in though, because there's quite a lot of people been watching and messing about. So
Yeah.
thanks for that. It's a bit of fun.
But it's now 8:42, so quarter to 10 nearly, quarter to 9. So we better call it a day then. Mark can get home before midnight.
Yeah, I'll be on the M6 if you want to see me. Give me a toot.
Take signs out.
Yeah, take care.
Yeah, we're going. So thanks for watching, everyone. Thanks for all the likes, even though there's only 207 of you that liked it, but whatever. And we'll see you all. Well, I'll see you all tomorrow, and you'll see Martin.
I'll see you next time.
Yeah. Bye.
Take care.